I was going to show two other things real quick. I'm going to share, if I can share this screen. You talked about that pricing table. So how that works is if I go to price books and I go to that Cool Kids price book that was triggered, when I look at my wall charger, all it is I go into that product and I can change the pricing. And here's my pricing table. I pick the property, release region, and then I set the prices. And that's it. So then
so damn easy.
Yeah, it's
also managing the HubSpot product library from this easier place as well.
This is it. It's all HubSpot products. You can override everything by percent, decrease, and increase. And that could be a different percent decrease and increase based upon the currency. So you can have a 5% discount in the EU, or you can have a 10% in the United States. So it's all different. Then you get to go into the granularity. I know one of your favorites was volume pricing for some socks. The first unit, for the first 1 to 10, it's $1. For 11 to 20, it's 50 cents, and 21 to whatever you guys give it. It's fine.
Yeah. Can we stick on that for a second? Because I did want to ask you guys about the line item specifically. Because I'm trying to forever make the case to the world, seems like, including the cash flow team, and as they come in and do their stuff around the revenue experience and expand, what that looks like in HubSpot. I am on the side of let's not ask the line item to be something it's not designed for. And this use case is an example. Like when we need to quote stuff like this, like 10 of it, 20 of it, 30 of it, imagine that being in your portal as like a real object record. And you had to create those 3 just to support that quote every time,
right?
Knowing that they're only going to go forward with one of them.
Yeah.
Right. Giving that optionality and even changing it during the quoting process. It needs to be like super flexible, but then once it's signed and paid, we should not be managing that data, like on the thing that we promised and the contract is related to. Right. So I've been pushing for a deliverable object to come after, so that we have 3 things. We have a product library, which is planned stuff, and also that's where the inventory information goes. Right? Line items is meant for that clay you need during the sales process until you put it in the fire and it's like, here you go. This is what you bought.
Yeah.
Right. But we try to put addresses on there. We try to do all these things on the line item level because that's what people care about after the sale is what's the status of my line item exactly. Like as an example. So curious where you guys are in that debate of should we have full records for line items? Should they be a full object? Should we be able to associate them with whatever we want? I think the association thing is the other.
That's the thing. You nailed it. Everything should have, you should be able to associate line items in the UI to any other object. Even a contact. They have use because we have this challenge with Event Hapily as well, because you need a way to have SKU, quantity, associated to anything, whether it be a SKU, whether it be a product, whether it be a ticket, whether it be a deliverable, whether it be anything. There's no other place, because you can't put that into a property unless you had some JSON in a property, but you need to be able to store proper, you need to have I wouldn't say it's a sub object. It is an object. It's a line items object to be able to have quantities and product properties itself. That's why in quote Hapily, we are leveraging the product properties, because right now in native quoting is hung up on line item properties, which can be different amongst all the things, but you can't use in a standard quote template, you cannot display anything from the product. You have to display something from the line item, which is a representation of a product being sold to somebody. Now, we leverage the product itself and display everything on the product itself because that's where you should be able to know that pricing. And that's why we have price books, which delineates. In this instance, the table is 1 to 20 to 21 to whatever. In this instance, it's different terms, it's different things, right? Like you said, that deliverable is going to be different from one person to another, or one group of customers to another.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have our price books. That's where that data lives, but it still represents and reflects the product and not the line item. The line item is like it served up to you, right? And that's kind of the biggest where we sit on that debate. But you gotta have line items for other objects. There's just, come on. Like if you have a car object, you might be able to have a line items for different warranty pieces. You don't need a whole object for warranties. You need an object that can have warranties and discounts and this, and how many spare tires you want, and how many like miles of service that you want to give. All of those things need like a product and a number, like a quantity. So there's just so much application, and I don't know why that's not the case, where you can't.
Chris, when you've talked to them, have they given you an argument as to why they don't do it?
Well, remember, I'm in the camp of I don't want line items to change.
You want to support some extra stuff.
I want a separate object that can be managed by the other teams that are usually managing those line items everywhere else in the sale. Because when we try to do it with these, like the line item we sold, right, is related to the deal and the quote. And now we've got shipping address management happening by another team. And that team has to mess around in sales land to go, and that doesn't go well for teams. So handoffs suck, and like we got to name it a certain way because it's always going to be in front of the sales team and related to the deal. So the separation of, and really as I've delivered this to teams, it's like just the epiphany of, oh, we can have our own objects, like to manage things the way that we need to manage without worrying about how it's named for the sales team or the help desk with tickets, right? And I think I'm making progress because it really just, even in configuration situations, right? On a form, like we put a bunch of properties on a deal or a contact record that are like specifications for products because it's not time to quote yet. We don't even know if it's a deal, but we need to accept this information. And when it does move forward, we're probably asking for it again because we didn't capture it in any place.
Yep.
We're cluttering up the contact record. Like, so this place to like handle, it's basically like product lifecycle management, like on a different object, because these things have life cycles. I mean, the warranty is a great example that often there's separate teams needed to manage that thing. And they often show up as like $0 line items in all these systems that the accounting team absolutely hates. But because of that, teams suck at warranty management. And they're often asking customers like, hey, can you give me, like, we think your warranty, I've heard that we think your warranty's about up. Like,
You
what's
think
your warranty number? Right. And just creating these data containers that can be associated. I think you're right in terms of like, we got to be able to associate whatever we're delivering with any place else, like in the CRM.
Yeah, it's just a core. You should be able to associate whatever to whatever. Just do that, and then
right. Associations and pipelines is what I'm looking for out of this separate object. And I could see a path towards them turning the product object itself like into that, but I think there's a space for the three objects to work together in concert in a way that works. Yeah,
you're needing the instance of it, the instance of the product in particular to somebody. But that basically is just a standalone line item. That object is. It's a line item that's not associated with anything. That you can create a line item for car. It's the instance of, I know I'm going to need a car with a warranty with this, with that, blah, 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 but it's standing alone. They actually want to buy it. Now I associate it to a deal. And now it's like in there, right? I think that there's an argument for standalone line because you don't want to have now you have a new product for this potential thing I'm going to sell. But it could be even that it needs to be built first. Like I need to order a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's almost as if like, could you create like groups of line items that
by themselves?
Yeah, that almost kind of like exist in their own little group.
and you know it was built Capital.